I'm having a great time being an idiot. And what's the best way to have a great time being an idiot? Drinking a Brooklyn brewery.
It's February now.
I'm still on the NAs.
What?
I'm going to be honest with you. I have been sober for a full month. I am sleeping so well.
Good for you, man.
So I'm sticking with it.
Let's go.
And I've got a new one to try. I haven't tried this one at all. So we're going to be on this adventure together. This is their Special Effects IPA.
And?
Tastes like a beer. That's great.
Oh, yeah.
Good stuff. That's what we're here for. Welcome to Let Me Pod to You. I'm Jacob. You can block me on Twitter at We Hate Jacob. That's hate with an 8. I'm here with my co-host Demetri. You can find him on Twitter if you want to see lots of stuff about Dave Canales being retweeted on the timeline. Demetri, how you feeling about the Panthers hire?
Dude, I fucking love it. I love Dave Canales. He's the man. He's so convincing. He's got some young energy about him. I'm excited.
And for the listener, he said the same exact thing about Frank Reich last year.
No, I did not.
Here's Demetri's top of the mid. Headlines, stocks rising, stocks falling. These can be specific wrestler storylines, etc. to kick off the conversation. Demetri, who is top of the mid?
I'm going to tell you who top of the mid is, but first, I know you playing that because I said young and energy, and that does not describe Frank Reich. All right, so let's get that out the way. And top of the mid, we already know who it's going to be, bro. My boy R-Truth came out the Royal Rumble twice, man. And I loved it. I was curious after he showed up, first showed up in the Women's Rumble, and he like popped out, and everybody is obviously confusion, and everybody's like, what the hell is R-Truth doing here? And I was cracking the fuck up on my couch when this happened. That happened, and then I was wondering, I'm like, I wonder if he's going to also come out for the Men's Rumble. And I wonder if there will also be shenanigans in the Men's Rumble when he comes out. Lo and behold.
He also came at the same number both times. I don't know if you caught that.
Did he really? I did not catch that.
I made a note on my phone and was like, I wonder if he's going to come out at the same number. He did.
That's great little subtle storytelling right there. He was told the number, but didn't know which Rumble he was coming out in. That's funny. But yeah, when he came out in the Men's Rumble for that hot tag, that was gold. Especially when he was sitting there like really, really hyped. Come on. And then Dom had no choice but to like go along with it because he's like, fuck it, I need some help. The only way.
So funny.
Yeah.
Ed and Toby were here and we were losing our minds. Like all of us, like I had tears in my eyes laughing at R-Truth during that. Like I was astounded.
And I know we're going to talk about the Men's Rumble later and you got a lot of thoughts on this, but I do want to say the R-Truth little portion, I ain't gonna lie, one of the best parts of the Men's Rumble.
The best part of the Men's Rumble. So what is your headline this week, Demetri?
Well, I was undefeated this week, dog. I got all my picks right. Every single pick for the Rumble. I picked all the winners. And then this is really rare. I feel like normally there's a swerve, which has got me feeling, it's hard to describe how it's got me feeling because I like to be swerved and I like to be surprised, but everything that I expected to happen happened. And although I wanted all these things to happen, I'm just like, damn, that was just as predicted. So I don't know. It's strange.
Yeah, the Rumble was pretty straightforward this year.
Yeah. I was really sold on Bayley winning the Women's Rumble. And lo and behold, that I literally the last like 5 people in the Rumble, whenever that Rumble happened, I had like, we were getting down to the final participants. I'm like, all right, it's going to be these people. And this is the order at which they're going to be eliminated. And it happened exactly the way that I said. I was watching with Janie. And again, it was predictable, but it was satisfying. So I'm not upset about it.
So the only thing that we don't have in our rundown to discuss is the United States title.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that real quick.
Let's do it.
That match was an absolute banger.
Yeah.
I thought it was booked perfectly.
Yeah, it was really good. It was surprising to me as well. It was definitely one of the shining parts of the night. The interesting part about that match to me is I went into it probably I would say probably the least excited out of everything. Granted, we got a Roman Reigns match on the card too. Hot take here, though. You know what? I'm going to save it for stocks falling. I'm going to save that for stocks falling.
Okay,
I'm saving that stocks. I'm saving that hot take.
The only thing I didn't like is that wrestling referees are notoriously fucking idiots.
Yep.
And out of nowhere, this referee, after being an idiot for 99% of the match, all of a sudden gets 20/20 vision and can see the brass knuckles on KO's hand.
That's not proper referee lore.
It is not, by the way. It is absolutely not. But the way that he's 1, 2, I'm ready to pop for Kevin Owens getting that 3, new champ, and then he stops. Points. The framing of the camera with the two wrestlers and the referee and the point at the brass knucks, nailed it.
Shout out to the production team.
Absolutely nailed it.
So,
yeah, I think it was the right way to end that match. Different kind of shenanigans than what I thought. And it was just interesting because you don't see that happen very often, where this kind of storyline weapon of these brass knuckles actually gets spotted and there's actually a punishment from it. So that was very interesting to see.
That was a good creative finish. I agree.
Yep. And it lets us do some more stuff with this story. Shifting gears massively. One of my favorite articles of the year, and this is my headline, is Cage Side Seats will do a deep dive on how much time actually passed buzzer to buzzer during the Royal Rumble.
I'm really glad you brought this up, because actually during the Rumble, I was like, this is something that crossed my mind. I was like, are they really the same distance between each entrant?
They are not.
All right.
So let's start with the Women's Royal Rumble. And this is what they do. They time it from buzzer to buzzer, not from when they get into the ring. So some entrances take longer than others, and that is part of the reason why.
Yeah.
In the Women's Royal Rumble, Bayley's entrance was 1 minute and 34 seconds. And I'm just going to look down here because there's a few that were really long between. So Shotzi had the longest time from buzzer to buzzer. Nia Jax was right before Shotzi. And Shotzi's was 2 minutes and 57 seconds.
How long is it? 90 seconds is supposed to be?
90 seconds.
Damn.
Yeah. And Bayley's was the shortest at 1:34. So the average waiting period was 2 minutes and 4 seconds. Get your shit together, Triple H. That's 124 seconds.
You're wasting our time, damn it. I came here for 90-second intervals.
And I will put these links in the show notes, because if you want to see it, I think it's so interesting.
It was really interesting.
The Men's Royal Rumble, the clock was a slightly less broken than it was. They fixed it between the mid card.
Oh wow!
The longest wait time between entrances was for Ludwig Kaiser at 2 minutes and 41 seconds. And that can most likely be attributed to the brawl between Karrion Kross and friends and Bobby Lashley and friends making their way out of the ramp area. The average waiting period this time was 1 minute and 50 seconds. So we got a lot better, shaved 14 seconds off that average. We were within 20 of the goal. But none of the intervals were less than 93 seconds. That was the shortest that we had for the Men's Royal Rumble.
Interesting.
And it's so stupid that I love this so much.
No, I love it too.
I saw these articles come out and I was like, oh, just what I wanted. The data.
Give me the numbers, baby.
So
that's awesome.
I will link these in the show notes, but I think it's very fun to see how long actually ended up being between these. And more than 90 seconds. Which leads me to, they should just say there's going to be 2 minutes between entrants.
Yeah.
No one would care.
Yeah, nobody would care.
The average is about 2 minutes. So that's what you want to do. Just do that.
Yeah. Well, they're going to... That is an interesting thing that this affects is their all of those video packages where they're like, so and so lasted X amount of time in the Rumble. So and so has the most time in the Rumble. It's interesting because it's not always going to be the same because, you could last let's say you last 10 minutes. That's going to be different depending on the amount of people who have entered in that 10 minutes.
Very true.
Get it and on time. Interesting.
On top of that, Bayley broke Rhea's record of longest time in the Rumble.
Let's fucking
go. Even though last year, Rhea Ripley started number 1 and went the whole way.
That's a perfect example.
Bayley came in at number 3.
That is a perfect example. Interesting. So
let's get into it.
All right.
The WWE Undisputed Universal Championship was retained by your tribal chief and mine, Roman Reigns.
Yeah. So if you want to can you go over this match because I have a hot take here. Okay. And I'm going to get it out after we go over the match.
So this is a Bloodline Cinematic Universe segment, which is going to go straight into Demetri's stock falling for his hot take.
Yeah.
I actually thought the first half of this match was really good. All the guys were out there doing their things, and I thought it was really interesting that they had all 3 of the non-Roman competitors hit their finisher on Roman.
Yeah.
He first took the Styles Clash, the reverse pedigree.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yep.
Then he took a BFT, and then he took an RKO. And Roman Reigns was going to get pinned. But it got broken up, and then Solo happened. We talked about this last week. We did not need Solo to interfere here. I think it hurts Roman more than it helps Roman. Solo comes in and just starts Samoan spiking everybody. And then Solo starts to stack them all up for Roman to get the cover.
We did get the stack pin.
Yeah.
That we wanted.
Yeah. But then I think Randy kicks out from underneath everybody.
Uh-huh.
Which breaks the whole thing up. And Roman's like, "What? Solo was supposed to help me get the thing." Yeah. And then they, have some stuff on the outside. Solo does a little runaround, flies through the barrier, almost completely takes out Samantha, which I was worried for her safety.
Me too. Actually, right when that happened, I was like, "Damn, is she okay?"
I was like, "Why is she there? They know to move."
The barrier thing just right at her legs. I was like, "Bro, that could have been bad."
Yeah, it went really far.
Yeah.
And then I thought the finish felt rushed. I don't know how you felt about the finish, but he's kind of doing something with, I think it's LA Knight in the ring. They're kind of going back and forth. And then AJ Styles is getting up on the top rope and he throws LA Knight into the ropes, which causes AJ to fall down really awkwardly on the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
And then Roman spears or Superman punches him out of the air. And then 1, 2, 3, Roman retains. And he's like, "I'm out of here." The end felt very rushed. And it was kind of an awkward match after the Solo part. The way I would have booked this is no Solo.
Yep.
And let's make Roman look extra strong. But switch the order of things. So he gets RKO'd first, BFT'd second, and Styles clashed third. And he kicks out of the Styles Clash pin on his own. Because then people are like, "Oh my God, Roman Reigns kicked out of 3 finishers."
Mm-hmm.
That's bananas.
He's a god. He's supposed to be a god.
He's operating on another level.
God mode.
And then Roman has to work his way through the 3 of them, basically doing his various finishers on the 3. So he spears somebody, he Superman punches someone else, and then he puts AJ Styles in the guillotine, which has just kind of disappeared from his repertoire. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, he hasn't used that very often now that you say it.
He used to use it all the time. Like when I first started watching, he was like,
that was a great move too. Very intimidating.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think like that would have been, it would have like the story in ring would have made a lot more sense that way to me.
Yeah. Even I big agree with that. I think having Solo kind of affect the match the way he did was, I mean, everybody, it seems like everybody feels the same way about it. It's just like, again, really? Again? And if you're going to have Solo be involved, you could have at least like had him like, if you're going to need to get him involved, like have him like maybe try to save something, but then he fucks up or gets like RKO'd or something. And then Roman has to save the day. So Roman can finally be the guy instead of being the guy that's like saved by somebody. Like Roman,
but Solo just knocked himself out by trying to do a cannonball into the barrier, and then he was just gone.
Yeah,
like I remember looking, I was like, "Where'd Solo go?
Right,
he's just out after that."
Out. Okay, he just did his thing. But yeah, my hot take here, which might not even be a hot take. I don't know. It feels like a hot take because Roman's involved in the match. This is my least favorite match of the night. This is my least favorite thing of the night. I know a lot of people feel a way about the men's Rumble. I didn't hate the men's Rumble. I loved the women's Rumble. And the KO match was pretty fucking fire. So my least favorite thing of the night was this Roman Reigns match because I knew it was going to happen. I knew how it was going to happen. And it just happened like there were no surprises. So it's just like, I mean, I got some stars in the ring. That was cool. But I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. Definitely my least favorite part of the night. And I felt that way watching it like live. Like I was ready to go on like a bathroom break during that match because I was like, I know what's going to happen. So that's how I feel about that match.
As soon as Solo showed up and did what he did, that's where it lost me. With you on that. I think it was the weakest match of the night for sure because of the Solo aspect.
Right.
And I'm starting to see some stuff coming online. I don't know how true it is because it hasn't been, from Sean Ross Sapp. So I don't know how much to really read into it. But that Cody was supposed to finish his story at Mania last year, but that's when Vince reintroduced himself into creative and he said, no, Roman's not losing. So now they have to basically like kind of force us back around. And maybe that's part of the reason why Roman's on this like massive part-time schedule, because it would have made more sense for him to be like fully part-time if he wasn't the champ and he didn't need to have that presence. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
But it feels very, I was happy when Cody lost last year. You know this.
Me too. We felt the same way. You've been listening
since the first episode. Yeah. You know this.
I did not like
Cody. I was glad Cody lost.
Yeah.
I didn't want this.
Yeah.
This isn't what I wanted.
Exactly.
And I guess this is what I should have expected because this is what they've been doing for a while.
Yeah, you just would have thought that they would have spiced it up, add a little bit here, because like the Bloodline storyline was so hot for a while, and it's still like one of the biggest parts of the show. But like, we're not really like
it's not as interesting.
Yeah, we had some really interesting stuff with like Jimmy and Jay, the little feuds there, and then obviously you got Sami Zayn and the whole, feeling OC movement that we had going there. That was gold. And then you had like those weird little rivalries within the group. So you had like Sammy and Jay not trusting Sammy and then finally winning the trust. But then Roman doesn't really fully trust him and he's starting to feel iffy about it. There was just so much intricacy there. And there was just a lot going on. So it was way more interesting. Right now, it just feels like all we got is Solo is dedicated to the Bloodline, and then you got Jimmy being a goofball, and you got Roman, the head of the table, who shows up every now and then for a match. And there's really like not many deeper storylines in that, other than Jimmy wanting to have more of a say of things, wanting more power, but not realistically being able to get it because.
But it's not interesting because it's Jimmy.
Exactly, because he's not. You don't believe that it, like his character isn't one that you would believe would be given any sort of power right now.
No.
So, Yeah, it's just not. It's not cooking like it once was. I do think, like, I still think that Cody losing last year was the right move because it just felt like it would have been too soon. Like he just came back. He just like it feels like he just won everything for like no reason. It's just like, oh yeah, he's the guy. He's destined to get it. And if he would have won at Mania, I know a lot of people were pissed, but I really feel like if he would have won the title at Mania, that so many people would have turned on him relatively quickly because it would have felt like he was shoved down our throats.
I would have turned on him that night.
I wasn't a fan. Like, I did not buy into the character, but it took me some time. And now I love Cody. Cody is the ultimate good guy. I'm a fan now. So now if he wins at Mania, I'm going to feel great about it. Like, I'm going to be excited when Cody wins the title at Mania. But wouldn't have been the case last year. I still think it was the right move, but I'm with you. I don't like where we're at right now.
Another stock falling that's about as big as the Bloodline storyline is you, Demetri, because you didn't listen.
Hey, man.
We told you that Mercedes Moné was not going to be at the Royal Rumble. She was not going to be with the WWE. It wasn't going to happen. And you didn't believe us.
Hey, you know what?
What do you have to say for yourself?
I do got something to say here. I really, I'll say this. I did believe you, but I didn't want to. That is how I felt. So I said otherwise. I did believe you and Sean Ross Sapp, but I didn't want to.
You let your heart take over.
I let my heart take over. My brain said there's no way, but my heart said, nah, bro, she's coming back. We're going to get that Bayley storyline cooking again, and it's going to be awesome. But hey, now that we're past the Royal Rumble, I will say, the brain was right. Okay. She's going to AEW, and it's going to be interesting. I think AEW needs it at this point. Not doing too hot, at least from what I've seen. Kind of struggling a little bit with seating and tickets from what I've seen.
Yeah. They're trying to kind of do a reset, it seems.
And that's good. That's fantastic. Please.
They want to kind of get away from what they were as just, I guess, from a creative standpoint, with what they were doing with, what's it called? Max MJF.
Yep.
Being more sports entertaining than wrestling. And they really seem to pride themselves on being a wrestling company.
Yeah.
And not necessarily a sports entertainment company. One of the things that they're getting back to, I don't know if you remember this, they used to do the rankings, the AEW rankings that would lead to title shots.
Yeah.
The end of the show on Wednesday was the first release of rankings. And it has led to some interesting contests on TV, especially the stories with Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page. They have been competing to have that number one contender spot to challenge Samoa Joe at the next pay-per-view. That's been the big thing. Now, what doesn't make a ton of sense is the way that they're putting out these contenders. So they just have it ranked as men's champions, Samoa Joe world title, Christian Cage TNT, Orange Cassidy International, Eddie Kingston Continental. But then they just have contenders, Swerve Strickland, Hangman Page, Adam Copeland, Jon Moxley, Roderick Strong. Why? Like, Swerve and Hangman are trying to get that world title. Adam Copeland has been doing what he's called the Cope Open, where he just wrestles whoever wants to come out and wrestle him on either Dynamite or Collision every week. Because he wants to earn his shot back at Christian Cage. Roderick Strong has already declared that he wants the international title that Orange Cassidy has. But you don't have to do anything to get that title shot, because you just have to go up to Orange Cassidy and say, hey, I want to wrestle you for your belt. And he goes, okay, how about this week on Rampage? Then it happens. Yeah. So I don't know how you fix it other than you have like a number one contenders list for each belt. Like the people have to declare what they're contending to get into. Because if you look at this list, why the hell would Adam Copeland, if he's third on this list, be waiting around for a TNT title shot that Christian Cage is trying to duck him for?
Yeah.
When he could very simply say, hey, Swerve loses and Hangman loses, I'm number one. I'll just go for that world title against Samoa Joe. Who needs a TNT? I got the world title. And then similarly, on the women's side, women's champion Toni Storm and TBS champion Julia Hart, number one contender Gianna Purrazzo. She's been wrestling each week, looking really good.
I've heard good things.
Yep, she's been great. They have made it official that she will be going for the women's world title at Revolution. Thunder Rosa is number two, and she's been kind of like very clearly working towards Julia Hart TBS title shot. Again, if she's number two on this list, why wouldn't you want to get her belt back?
Right. That
she had to drop because she was hurt. She never lost it. So why would she want the TBS title and not the women's world title? And then you've got Hikaru Shida 3, Sky Blue 4, Mariah May 5. Sky Blue is aligned with Julia Hart. Mariah May is aligned with Toni Storm. Doesn't make sense. Tag team contenders, that makes sense. I'm not even going to touch it. Doesn't matter. Trios champions. The AEW World Trios champions are the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. They have recently formed a super group with Bullet Club Gold, the Bang Bang Scissor Gang.
What
they had a little segment on TV where they
Bang
came
Bang
out and they one of the Gunn children was going to do the suck it thing.
Yeah.
And Billy Gunn stopped him and was like, how about you let the best in the business do it? So Billy Gunn ran it back, did the whole thing, suck it, blah, blah, blah. And he went, but that seems a little out of date. We got to replace those last two words with guns up.
Bang, bang.
So who would you guess is the number one contender for the AEW World Trios titles? Them. Oh, that's right. The ROH World Trios title holders, the Bullet Club Gold. So what are we doing here? What are we doing? Doesn't make any sense.
No.
So they've got to kind of figure out what they want to do with that. That wasn't even on the stocks falling list, but here we are.
Yeah, here we are. I just want to add to it. So I had this idea, or I saw this info. It's kind of interesting. So just talking about AEW, the last Dynamite, I was talking about ticket sales, and although ticket sales aren't like a true tail sign of like how a company's doing, like I understand it's way more than that. You got the TV deal, you got the people that are watching every week, you got pay-per-views, you got merch, you got a lot of stuff going on that goes into a company. I'm just saying, as a fan, I don't think that they should continue booking these arenas that have so many seats and then just fill like a quarter or like half of them, just because the vibes are just weird for that. Like it just
feels kind of like the Collision that I was at here at State College.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's just like a little weird when you see like a half empty arena. It's not that I wouldn't enjoy the show, but like for like casuals, I mean, the vibes and like the electricity would be way different if it was a full small arena. And the reason I'm saying that is because like this past week, I saw the numbers for the last Dynamite. It was like a 9,000 seat arena, right? They sold like 1,600 tickets. That's a really small amount of tickets in a 9,000. Now, granted, they only had 2,000 available, but still only opening up 2,000 for a 9,000 seat arena. There was a lot of empty space there. And again, I'm definitely not an AEW hater. I want them to do well, but for them to do well, I feel like the environment needs to be better. So like when they pop up at Daly's Place, that's great because they can fill it up and it looks nice and the vibes are right. So like I just think that they should maybe consider selling out smaller arenas or having smaller arenas closer to capacity rather than going to bigger arenas that, you know, they only sell like 1.5 tickets, maybe 2,000 tickets. It don't sit right with me. It don't look right. It don't feel right.
No, I'm 100% on board with you. And again, sorry about the loud dog, listeners. I can speak to my experience being in a big arena with a small crowd for Collision at Penn State back in September, compared to going to Dynamite in Philly at the Temple Basketball Arena. That arena was packed to the gills.
That's a
There
great
were
feeling.
no empty seats,
Mm-hmm.
and the vibe was amazing. It was hot in that arena. Like just the amount of people, the noise, the chants, like everything just hit so hard in that arena. Like you could feel the energy in it. So I 100% see what you're saying. And I remember when I was going into this arena, I was like, man, this place is kind of small. But then like when you're in there and you have that, like all those people and it's packed in, you just feel it just felt a lot different.
It's awesome.
Comparatively, like if they had done that show at Wells Fargo in Philly, which is huge, like I think it seats 20,000 or more, like that would have been bad. Because like you have, even if you get 5,000 people in a big market like Philadelphia in a 20,000 seat arena, like it
doesn't feel the same.
Not going to feel the same. Yeah, I'm with you.
Where we at?
Let's keep the haterade rolling. CM Punk is cooked, brother. He is done. As some people are calling him on Twitter, Fragile Phil. This man gets injured every time he wrestles, it seems like. Like he just cannot do it. This time he tore his triceps. And first, shout out and props to him for finishing the Royal Rumble with torn triceps.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Did you notice when it happened? Because I
had no idea. I had no idea.
Yeah, it happened, and I saw him like kind of go to the corner. I'm always like, I don't know why I'm always like watching out for shit like this. I saw him like go to the corner, and he was like, it looked like he was in pain, and then like he said something to the ref, and then she came over and started like talking to him, and he was like pointing to something, and they're just sitting there talking, and it was just kind of like, I was like, something going on here, and I was talking to Janie. I was like, I think CM Punk might be hurt. That's not good. And then he got up and like looked like he was fine. So I was like, all right, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe he was fine. But turns out, no, I saw it happen. So poor guy.
Yeah, I mean, I do. This isn't a stock falling like, haha, I'm glad he's hurt. I'm not. Like, I would have really liked to see CM Punk and Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. That sounded like a buttload of fun to me. But, yeah, I mean, maybe the injury was part of it. CM Punk looked like an old man during the Rumble.
Yeah.
He looked like when they have a legend return to go a couple rounds in the Rumble, and like
he looked gassed.
And I wonder if they made a mistake by not having him have, any kind of matches leading up to the Rumble. Like he was just in the Rumble.
I would like to think that he wouldn't have looked as gassed if he had like some more like time to knock off some ring rust, some more matches on TV, just some stuff to work that off. Cause I mean, it's just like regular sports. They always say like, if you're watching football and your team signs somebody and you're wondering if they're going to play that week, typically they're like, nah, they got to get into football shape before we allow them to play. It's a different type of shape. So I think part of the injury issue is maybe he just wasn't in that type of shape yet, although he probably felt good. It's different when you're in the ring, on TV, at a premium live event, adrenaline's rushing, things are different. It's just natural. And yeah, it sucks, but yeah, I think that may have played a part in it, possibly.
Yeah, very well could be. How did you feel about the Men's Royal Rumble overall?
All right. I felt like it was good. It wasn't great.
Really?
But it was good. I've seen a lot of takes here. So this is why
I would give it an okay. Like I thought it was okay.
Okay. Yeah. It was okay to good. I'll give it that. I'm not going to say it was bad. I'm not going to complain about it. The thing that was different about this Royal Rumble was there were way less like pandering to like, here's a legend, here's a legend, here's a legend, here's a huge surprise. It was like, this is a match of all of the relevant people, or close to relevant people on the roster.
I was going to say careful.
Plus, a few NXT stars that are on the come up. It was a good showcase of some of their abilities. I know you got one that you're going to talk about. It was a good showcase of their abilities. It was nice for me to watch. And I think it was a good introduction to a lot of faces. I know way back in the day, I remember when, way back in the day, wow, it wasn't even that long ago, but kind of, when Bianca Belair debuted at the Royal Rumble. I remember she was just straight from NXT. I didn't watch NXT, but Janie had watched that Rumble with me, and she was like, who's this girl? Because she had a lot of swag. She had the hair. She was at the time, she was a heel. So Janie was not a fan.
What?
Yeah, at the time she was a heel.
That's
She was talking
crazy.
shit, and yeah, Janie was pissed. But it was a really cool introduction, and they don't do those all the time. But I'm happy to see we got a few introductions here, and that's what made it good for me, is seeing these new faces that a lot of people don't see because a lot of people don't watch NXT. I don't watch it regularly, but I know who these people are. So it was cool for me to see them.
So, I mean, Andrade made his re-debut.
Yeah.
Makes sense. You do that in the Rumble.
Yeah.
He was apparently supposed to be just thrown onto Raw a couple weeks ago, like once he signed. And Charlotte Flair actually was like, no, give him the Rumble.
Yeah.
And I think that's, good for Charlotte, like pushing
Yes.
for that. Cause like that's a better entrance and a better return for him.
Absolutely.
But let's talk about some underwhelming bits of the Men's Royal Rumble.
All right.
Let's start with Carlito.
Mm.
I know why they brought Carlito in to do kind of some LWO stuff. He has fully come in as enhancement talent, like as a full-time enhancement talent.
He really has.
And it's kind of sad. And his music still sucks. It is not caught on.
God.
It's so bad.
It's bad. It's not right. All right. I wrote this down on my phone. I didn't put it in the thing. I got a really short blurb to get out here because this is a negative about the Royal Rumble as a whole, men and women. They need to do a better job with music and entrances and just the production of that. There are a few people who are stars who have great entrance music, but there's so many generic songs and like Titantrons that it's become an issue. Like people come in, and a lot of the time in the Rumble, if like, there's these people from NXT or these people on the main roster who don't really get a lot of love, they come in and just a generic track hits that sounds like you're playing like WWE 2K and you just selected like Rock Track 1. And
but that's all of WWE's music right now. It's
crazy.
Like so there are certain people who have like their music, like you said, Bianca Belair. I'm on my own, against the wall, like
Bianca Belair, Roman Reigns, Becky Lynch. Yeah. You got the big stars, but then you got so many that are just generic tracks, and it's a problem because how is the crowd supposed to be hype or be excited when they don't know who the hell is coming out till they get to the ring? The pops weren't there because they don't know who is coming out. So like, they really dropped the ball in that recently.
I mean, like just looking at these names, like there's a lot of people who like, I can't think of their music off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Grayson Waller, Santos Escobar's music is just like a wet fart. It's just boom, 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 boom. I think Finn Balor just comes out to the generic Judgment Day music still. Bronson Reed is just like some drums, I think.
Oh yeah, that's really generic.
Ivar.
Yeah, you're spitting facts right now because I can't like
Omos.
I don't know, bro. I'm really into music and I got songs going through my head all the time, but I can't. I
Braun Breaker, if you watch some NXT, you'll know his music because it's like the wolf howl. Like that's how it's like woo. So like that, I kind of knew what was going on there. JD McDonough, no. But then you get to like the Miz, and again, you know the Miz. Awesome.
I can't do that. That's the shit, bro.
Exactly. But like Ricochet, like there's just some music that it's just like you don't know who it is. Like it's
a problem. It's a problem.
I also thought, I mean, I feel bad saying this too, but just like some of the like people towards the end, we get We get The Miz at 25, Damian Priest at 26. Still don't think he should have been in the Rumble. CM Punk 27. That makes sense. Put him late. Ricochet 28. What are we doing?
Dude, I felt the same way. I was like, huh?
I straight up was like, so he's just there to get eliminated late? Like, we need to
there
fill
to
some
do
time.
A couple spots, yeah.
I mean, Pat McAfee, 23, he got in the ring and got out. It's like, that's a waste of a spot.
It was a waste of a spot, but to be fair to Pat, that was pretty fucking funny.
It was funny. I'll give you that. that it was funny.
I did
but
laugh.
It's just like, I'd maybe rather see Trick Williams there.
Yeah. It was a great point.
We're kind of getting this.
I would have loved
Trick Williams push.
Yeah.
Like, whoop that trick in that arena would have gone hard.
Uh-huh.
I mean, or if you want to take somebody else out, just get rid of Ivar or Austin Theory.
Yeah, because why the fuck is Ivar in there? We know he's not winning the Rumble.
Exactly. But you bring in Trick Williams while Carmelo Hayes is still in there, and you can kind of play up this like will they or won't they thing of are they going to stay friends? Is Carmelo going to turn on Trick? You can play that up, and like for the watcher that watches the whole WWE universe, they have, a little bit more that they're getting out of that then.
Yeah.
But, and again, I felt bad and I knew Sami Zayn was going to return, but Sami Zayn 30, I was like,
not the right time, bro.
Okay.
It was deflating, actually. It was deflating.
I would have preferred Sami Zayn 29 and Drew McIntyre 30.
Yeah.
I think if you flip those, but you have to have Drew in the ring already because he's the one that put Sami on the shelf. Yeah. So I don't know. I didn't love the men's Royal Rumble. I also thought it was boring that Cody Rhodes won it 2 years in a row.
I loved the Cody Rhodes winning it decision. I was all about it. It makes me happy. I think it makes sense for his character. He's gone through so much. For him to be the first guy after all this time to win 2 back-to-back since Stone Cold in the 90s or whatever, that's sick, bro.
Dumb.
Hey man, we going.
I'm back to hating Cody Rhodes. They're putting him in the main event. I'm back to hating Cody Rhodes.
I hate him again. Damn it.
One of the very bright spots of the Royal Rumble, though, was Braun Breaker.
Yeah,
what a baby. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of rumors going around that Braun Breaker was the replacement for Brock Lesnar. They're basically like, okay, well, Brock Lesnar, we're not putting you in here because of the ties to a lawsuit that I don't want to get sued for saying the wrong information about. So key figures here, Vince McMahon, you sick fuck.
Yeah.
That's all we're going to say.
Yeah.
But Braun Breaker, holy shit. Demetri, a man that big should not be able to move that fast.
But he hits the ropes crazy. Ropes crazy. It's so fun to watch.
If I was told, I show up at the Performance Center. I'm told, it's your day of work. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to eat a spear after Braun Breaker hits the ropes at 27 miles an hour. I'm handing in my resignation. I'm out of there. I'm not doing that.
I'm out.
Yeah, no, I'd be like, no way. That looks painful.
It does look really painful.
He says he's got the best spear in the business. Yeah, I fucking believe it.
Absolutely.
And he said in a backstage, interview that he's full time on the main roster, and Shawn Michaels like, "Whoa, partner, I've still got creative for you down here." But it's time.
His energy, just general, is off the charts. Like his energy when he's in the ring, and I also he's not like a super emotional type of guy because you wouldn't expect him to be, and he shouldn't be. I love the energy and passion he talks with when he's on the mic. Bro just sounds angry and that fits. I love that shit.
He also has that Steiner promo where he's talking, and you're like, buddy, what the fuck are you saying?
Yes.
But
absolutely.
You're still into it. It's not a bad what the fuck are you saying? It's when he was talking to I keep going back to this clip because it makes me laugh, of him talking to Baron Corbin about their tag team name. He's like, we're the Wolf Dogs. And Corbin's like, that's terrible. How long did it take you to come up with that? 2-3 weeks? Like just his delivery on it too is like he's dead serious. We're the wolf dogs.
Like, I think he's got it. There's just you can always tell when somebody just like got it, and he's got it.
He's also got that like top guy physique too.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
He'll be able to do anything you need him to do. Kind of physique.
Future champion,
future champ. You heard it here first. Sure, Demetri, sure. Your stock rising.
All right. I just want to give a quick shout out to the player hater of the year. That is Drew McIntyre.
Oh my God.
Bruh, I love this man. You know, I've been saying it for a minute now. I love Drew McIntyre. He's one of my favorite wrestlers on the roster. He's just so tough and so good at everything that they ask him to do. Whatever they ask him to do, he always delivers. And you cannot deny that. So it was really fucking funny when CM Punk is out there giving this heartfelt promo. Out comes Drew McIntyre to tell him that he prayed for him to get hurt, and his prayers were answered. I actually laughed out loud at this because what a funny premise. But I absolutely love it, man. Drew is really on his hater shit, and he owned it on the internet. Like, bro was on Twitter tweeting nonstop. Like, I pray for this. I used to pray for days like this. Drew
or that meme that's like showed up to my op's funeral to make sure they were dead. And he photoshopped his face onto it. Like, bro.
That's actually the first thing I thought of whenever I heard that promo is that meme. And I was like, this is the perfect situation. And there he goes tweeting it. He knows what's up. But yeah.
He must have hired Asuka to manage his social media. That was some Asuka level shit.
That was great. And you know what? It's got me really hyped up, man. You know, I'm always on the Drew train. I feel like I say this every single time we talk about Drew. He carried the pandemic and he doesn't get credit for it.
Here we go.
He was a great champion. And I was so into that Drew McIntyre.
Can't do it in front of the fans. Can't do it in front of the fans. Moment's too big.
You know what's really interesting? I'll give you this. What's really interesting is Bayley just won the Rumble. Bayley also had a hand in carrying the pandemic. Maybe they're doing right here. Maybe they're giving the people who carried the pandemic, carried the company, their moment in front of the fans that they didn't get before. Maybe we get Seth versus Drew at WrestleMania. I don't know. Maybe we get Seth versus Drew at WrestleMania, because I'm going to give you this too. During the pandemic, Seth was killing it with his, what was the gimmick? He was basically like a cult leader.
Yeah.
He was like a cult leader. He had Buddy Matthews with him, and they were out there injuring people. He poked out Rey Mysterio's eye. I don't know if you remember that, but that was hilarious and ridiculous. And Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Bayley just carried the pandemic. So I would love to see them just, make it right for WrestleMania this year. Give them their moment. They deserve it.
So let's get into the women's Royal Rumble.
It's fire.
And we were talking in my house about how the start of this Rumble was like, all right, we're going for an all thick Royal Rumble. Natalya and Naomi open it up. Woo! Mm-hmm. And Naomi getting that spot, nothing going on in the ring, starting it off, lights go down, take it to the floor. And she has her name in her hair. Man, that was hype.
That was awesome.
That was hype.
Yeah, what a great start.
Then Bayley number 3, I was like, ooh, that's early for Bayley. That's
as soon as I saw Bayley number 3, I was like, ooh, I don't know about my pick. Ooh.
Yep. Candice LeRae, I was like, she's getting thrown out of here. And then the surprise of the night for the Women's Royal Rumble, in my opinion, there's another one that's a big one, but the surprise of the night, Jordynne Grace, TNA Knockouts Women's Champion.
That was a huge surprise. Yeah, I had no idea. I saw afterwards that there were like mentionings of something happening with TNA on Twitter. I didn't see those, so I had no inkling that anything like that was going to happen. I mean, that's pretty big. That's pretty cool.
They also did specifically say that Naomi was former TNA Knockouts Women's Champion too.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really nice that Jordynne Grace and Naomi got to have that moment in the ring too.
It was awesome.
Where they hugged it out, and there was a pop for it because like people know what was going on. Like wrestling fans are informed on what's happening around the leagues, if you will. Let's see here. Bianca Belair, number 10. Thought that was a good time for her to come in. I was like, yeah, she can go all the way from number 10.
Yeah.
Chelsea Green, number 14. Chelsea was sensational in the Royal Rumble.
She always makes the most of any opportunity she's given.
So she had a very opposite Royal Rumble. Last year, she was eliminated in 4 seconds.
And they absolutely knew that was a storyline going in because they immediately were like, oh shit, she's going to get eliminated.
But then like Piper Niven's the next one that's in after her. And then she gets put over the rope, but Piper catches her and then fakes like she's going to drop her. No. We're but then she keeps getting like, remember when she kept getting smashed in the corners?
Yeah. And she would be like,
she was just trying to do the like, I'm going to get to the corner. I'm going to be saying, oh my God.
Yep. That was really good.
She sold incredibly well.
She's hilarious.
One little downside of the Xia Li, the swords thing.
Yeah, I don't like the swords thing. I'm not a fan
crowd
either.
Was
seems like extra
negative energized for that.
Yeah.
They were like, why are we doing this? Maxine Dupree, I thought she had a nice little showing. Trying to do some wrestling moves. She hit the reverse worm, I think, too.
Yeah, I don't know how the fuck she did that. I can't even do a worm, so that was crazy.
I saw a TikTok where she was talking about how like Otis has been trying to teach her how to do the worm, and she can do it really well backwards, but not forward.
That's hilarious.
So that's why she did it that way.
That's so funny.
Valhalla came in, and that was R-Truth's number, and then she was out right away, basically.
Yep.
And fucking Truth, like, why is she barefoot? That was nuts. But I think, the final 3 on the women's side were all kind of surprises. Jade Cargill, number 28. Awesome.
She did great, by the way.
She was incredible, wasn't she?
Really entertaining.
Oh my God. She's amazing. Tiffany Stratton, number 29.
She was great too.
She's another NXT that could go to the main roster. Like she already proved it with her feud with Becky.
She was ready a while ago. She was ready a long time ago, but she said that she wants more work. I remember her saying that. So,
hey, fair enough. You want to get that work in and like make sure you're really ready. Do it. Yeah. The only thing that I would change about Tiffany Stratton is just the way she delivers a promo, because like her promo voice is very grating. But like I've heard her doing interviews, and that's not how she actually sounds. She does it as
isn't her that character. Like how is it just supposed to be though?
I guess
like it's just supposed to be annoying.
I guess so. It's so grating to me. Though.
Yeah, it's really awful. But I feel like that's what she is, bro. She's gotta talk like that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Her thing.
Ludwig Kaiser, that man's winning. Liv Morgan, number 30. Very good to see Liv back. Very happy to see her back. And I'm really interested to see where a lot of these women are going to end up on the various rosters. Now, we didn't say it at the top. I didn't watch Raw. Did you watch Raw?
I watched it until after the Drew McIntyre CM Punk segment, and then I tuned out.
So you watched the very beginning of Raw.
Yep.
Okay.
So I saw that and I was like, "Oh, my nigga Drew!" And then I was out.
I saw online that Andrade is going to Raw. Braun Breaker had a phone call with Nick Aldis, so he's probably going to SmackDown. I don't know if I've seen where any of the kind of returning women are going to go. I think I saw that Naomi's probably going to be on SmackDown, which makes sense because that's was kind of her brand before.
And Jimmy's there, so
yeah, true. That makes more sense. But it'll be really interesting to see where Jade and Liv Morgan end up, because I think, are they going to keep Jade away from Bianca and Rhea for now?
Yeah.
Are they going to put her on SmackDown as a, infusion of, women's talent there? And then similarly with Liv Morgan, I believe she was on SmackDown before, but it'll be interesting to see where they end up.
Women's roster going crazy right now, bro.
Really is.
We didn't even talk about, we didn't even get to the winner of the Rumble yet.
Oh yeah, Bayley. Yeah, that's right.
Shout out to my girl Bayley.
I thought the ending was perfect for Bayley too.
Yes.
Like Liv and Jade are doing their own thing on the outside, trying to eliminate each other. Bayley's like, great, I'll kick you both out.
Yeah.
That was perfect.
I loved that for Bayley. It was just they did such a good job of making it feel like a feel good moment. And they've done a great job of making everybody like feel for Bayley. Like we feel bad that her own group is not treating her very well. They keep gaslighting her. You feel bad about it. And like, if you're getting some sort of emotion out of us, especially if it's like us, like feeling like somebody deserves this, it's certainly Bayley. And it's fantastic. Made my heart smile. And we already know what's going to happen, bro. We know what's going to happen. She's
picking Io tonight, isn't she?
She's going to pick Io. And if she doesn't pick Io, she'll pick Rhea, and then something will happen. And she'll be like, never mind. I want Io. So
fair enough.
Either way, it's going to be Bayley and Io at Mania. And that is very exciting for me. They deserve that payoff. They've been a group for a while. They've worked towards this for a while. In the beginning, it was a lot of people called for them to disband because they were kind of lacking direction for a little bit. Of course, and there's no shame in that because, they were lacking direction for a little bit, but it has certainly evolved into one of the most interesting stories on the roster. So I'm very excited to be able to see that at Mania.
And I think that's just about it for this week, Demetri. Anything else you want to add?
No, man. Shout out to Coach Canales, bro.
All right, calm down. Thank you, everybody, for listening. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube at Let Me Pod to you. Please like, comment, subscribe. Please give us a review on your chosen podcast platform. You can follow Demetri at Demetri Talks. You can find me if you want at We Hate Jacob, Hate with an 8. I did warn you, it's all Dave Canales retweets on Demetri's timeline,
buddy.
So careful. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.